Good morning. I'm on the top of Table Mountain here at the top of Cape Town. This city is absolutely fantastic. Looking down the mountain, you can see out in the far distance, that is Robben Island, which we'll be going to this afternoon. There is Lions Mountain, and then there is the round soccer stadium where they played the FIFA when it was here in South Africa. And then you have the harbor there in front of us. There's about 4.5 million people that live in the greater Cape Town area. The harbor area is absolutely beautiful. It is a lot of fun. There's great restaurants, shopping, and it's very fun for all of the tourists to come to. Beautiful city, very metropolitan with an amazing buzz. Today is day 36, and we are on our way from Namibia flying down to Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town is South Africa's most beautiful, most romantic, and most visited city. And it is so cosmopolitan, you feel like you're in San Francisco on the waterfront there. It is got amazing architecture. There are lots of beaches, and there is like a beach walk that goes for miles alongside the ocean front. In the evening, we took a bus ride up to Signal Hill where we could witness Cape Town and all of the lights from that location. It was absolutely amazing, and I really had no idea how large Cape Town is, even though it is a city of 4.5 million people. That next morning, we went over and bought tickets to go to Robben Island in the afternoon. And we purchased a ticket on the Hip and Hip Off bus to go up to Table Mountain and see the rest of the city. Oh my God, what a view it is from Table Mountain. You can see all around Cape Town, the winelands, and all the ocean from this vantage point. Table Mountain was voted the official new 7 Wonders of Nature. And it was so remarkable when we got up there. I could not believe how large this space was, because from the bottom at the sea at Cape Town, it didn't look that large. But there was all kinds of fauna and flora up there that are indigenous to that area that exists in some cases nowhere else in the world. After we came down, we got on the Hip on Hip Off bus and drove around the greater Cape Town area and got back to the pier and the wharf area where we got on a boat to go to Robben Island. To talk about Robben Island, first we need to back up and talk about apartheid, which was a policy put in by the minority whites in power where the blacks had no rights, not even the right to vote. After 30 years of nonviolence and making pleas and marching and doing whatever they could to get the attention of the South African government, requesting to treat them like human beings, they became very frustrated. Many blacks lost their life while demonstrating quietly and peacefully and were being shot and killed, many in the back while running away from the police. Nelson Mandela is a hero in South Africa. In the 1950s, he was an attorney by education, but he was called in his heart to take on the plight of his people to give them freedom. The African National Congress was the party that they backed to support their point of view, and he led these people, and they decided that they would have to take action more violently to get the attention of the government. Nelson Mandela was put into prison for almost 30 years for his actions, and Robben Island was one of the prisons that he was in because he was given a life sentence. All of his rights were taken away from him. He was beaten and had gone through terrible, tragic times in prison, was not allowed to see family for many years, had to sleep on a rug on the floor, was given a little pot to go to the bathroom, and they had no rights in this prison. And the white guards it was their job in life to make them miserable. Being in prison changed Nelson Mandela, and he made decisions that he would love and forgive the whites in power. While he was in prison, the violence continued, and through international pressure, as the world became well aware what was going on in South Africa, the president of South Africa, de Klerk, started negotiations with Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela and all the prisoners were finally released, and a few years later they had open elections of which Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa. This is all a very moving story, as he, as a leader of South Africa at that time, had to go to his people and say, you need to stop the violence, you need to forgive, and he brought this whole country with all the fighting and violence back together again, so that the blacks and the whites and the coloreds in South Africa now live in harmony. I was so moved about Nelson Mandela's story, as one man could make such a difference in bringing his country back together, from a country where there was hatred, violence, killing, to a peace and people living in harmony. It is a very moving and touching story. In closing, my wish for you is that you will love abundantly, protect your health, and be adventurous for life. You are beautiful. Let your light shine. Aloha.